Motivating the light, we talked about it a little bit, which is just having a place for your light to be coming from. So why don't we let's bring the table back in. And this is something we're often going to do. Let's move some of our lights. Let's stage them over here a little bit better. Axel, you want to help out with that as well. We can leave the Kino there for now, but let's start moving the tungstens and let's line it up a little bit so we can clear the back a little. Josh, we're going to set the camera up in this area. We're going to want to play with the windows a bit. Stark and Josh, you want to open these up for me? Let's just open both of them. Cool, just right there. And you want to grab another pair of hands, grab this Kino. We're just going to stage the Kino right here and see where we're at with it and go from there. Let's switch to daylight. So we're going to go to daylight balanced now. We were at tungsten. Now we're going to start playing in the more 5600 land. You got that? You're going to see it. You know what? Let's do this instead. You can sit there. Stark, can you grab the other chair? Sit on the other side. And let's get low. Let's get like
really low.
Yeah, like as low as you can get on that thing.
All right. Just lower them all the way down. So.
And if we could kill the house lights again. Let's bring this guy in. Let's just stage it right here for now. Let's come a little bit this way. Can you guys come a little bit this way too? I want to try to get rid of the TV just a touch. That's good. Why don't you back up just a little bit, go a little bit this way, and just punch in just a touch. We won't worry about the TV too much. Take it out a little bit. Let's go a little bit that way. Let's go 2 feet that way. Be sort of center with the table a little. There you go. And let's back up just a little bit more. I'm getting all in your space, Sam. There you go. Just going to send the daylight. I'm going to drop in the white balance a little bit here to send the daylight a little more of a cool color. And then let's flip this guy sideways. Let's bring it closer to the camera. We're going to use this as fill. Good deal. All right, and bring that right in. Actually, can you flip it the other side so the cabling's on the other side of the fixture? Cool. And you two, if you guys could move some of this back, let's get it out of our frame line a little bit. Josh, can you lean in a touch or get a little closer? That works. Stark, same. Lean in a touch.
I just said lean in.
Yeah, let's keep coming. Let's keep coming. Right there. And let's take it up just a bit. I'd say take it up a foot. Cool. And let's see if we can pan it down at them a little bit. You want to get hands on, Walter? And then go ahead and... Cool. Let's turn on one tungsten and see what it looks like. Are we plugged in?
Oh.
We're not going to... Don't go to dimmer with that one.
Yeah.
You want to grab the dimmer and bring it over here? That's a daylight. Let's switch to a tungsten. All right, let's switch back to a daylight. All right, let's get some, do we have a big, actually, let's get the bed sheet. Let's bring the bed sheet in. All right, you want to fold this in half for me? So we're using the sunlight as our key. What happens if we, let's actually open that up a little bit, maybe.
I went down to 140, back to 140. There you go.
What do we got if we, all right. Let's stick right around 60. And let's switch our balance back a little bit to get that skin tone. So now I'm shifting my white balance to try to bring back the skin tone. Their skin tone was a bit too cool. Your skin tone's just too cool, man.
All right, we got the picture.
All right, let's float it in front of this. Yep. So keep going up with it. Up, up, up. There you go. And just hold it tight to it. All right, now give me 2 daylights. We'll just Hollywood it just so we could see what it's doing. So we're just creating a really, really soft light from this Kino. Turn them both off and then on. And I love that because it always doesn't seem like it's doing anything until you turn it off and on. You see how much it's actually doing. Did it sound like I said duty?
It sounded like you said diddly do.
It's not diddly doing anything. Let's go this way with the camera a little bit. Let's punch in tight on Josh. And let's shift this light over to the front of him more. Let's get right in front of him. We might not need the sheet. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's shift like right behind Stark. Stark, go ahead and look at Josh. Let's go 1 bulb on that. All right, cool. We're starting to get a cool look going on. All motivated by this window. I mean, obviously the window, turn it off. Window's not wrapping like that, but we can kick that back on. And I would actually pull it back about a foot, and let's go to your left about a foot. Cool. But now we're using the window light to motivate the light that's on his face, even though in reality it would not be wrapping that much. So that's the general idea of motivating light, using the actual source that's in the room to then dictate what the rest of the lights are doing. Go ahead and kick that. Let's shut the windows. What would be great for windows like that, because you can see that they have the crossbars on the windows, but they're all blown out. You can't see them. You could get really big sheets of ND, which can be kind of pricey, and actually throw those on the windows to bring that down. So you're stopping that down to match the inside with what you're seeing with the outside to sort of see through that. And we won't jump back into. I was going to do a lamp setup, but we actually won't do that because we did that when we had the lamp and we used another light to sort of bring up what the lamp was doing. That's motivating light. You take the source that's in the room and you build on top of that, which I've been saying it over and over. Start with 1 light, go from there. Sometimes you can have completely unmotivated light, and that's totally fine. We've done a lot of that. You don't really notice it. But if you establish a light, it's kind of weird if your main light in a room is over here, but a key light's right here and you haven't seen it. So it can feel a bit odd, even if you're not fully catching what it is. It can kind of subliminally be something off for you. I think my favorite version of that is I think it's in King Arthur. It's like back in the medieval days, and there's a neon green backlight happening. I'm like, we're Club King Arthur now? Let's go ahead and fly the table out. We're going to talk about creating atmosphere, which is going to be a keynote. So if we could switch over to the keynote piece. And we talked a little bit about this using the cigarette, for instance, to create that atmosphere in the room. That's cool. We can leave all that there for now. But a fog machine or a hazer, does a whole lot for your scene. If you use it well, it can be overused, which is great. You could use that for horror, comedic effect. Hazers are awesome because the way that they work and the fog that they use, it'll live in the room a lot better. It doesn't move around as much. It kind of just settles, whereas a fog machine that you'll get from the store is a little harder to use. You really have to fan that around. It dissipates quicker, and you'll usually get some floating through the air. If you have like an air conditioner going, moving all that around, and it becomes a little bit obvious. But you can do it. I have not used a hazer in any of my productions. It's always been a fog machine. One was a $50 fog machine from like Party City. The other one was like $100 and something fog machine. Both of them worked very well, so either way is good to go. You can use it for diffusion, not the best. It kind of drops contrast for your whole scene, very similar to what the black Pro Mist filter that we were looking at the other day will do. Use it for mood, which is what I use it for, to create shafts of light. And here's an example for a spot we did in our show, Film Riot, for Domain.com, where we just went way overboard, kind of doing almost the Sandlot story flashback idea mixed with a Spielbergian sort of look. And you could see all these shafts of light we're able to create. And Josh, with his beautiful mustache. And you got that Spielberg flashlight look going on, which I adore. You could see the fog kind of hanging in the air. And it sort of feels like a house that no one's walked into for a very long time. This is the Adobe and the Frog piece that we'll show you guys a little bit later. Very subtle, but you can see the blooming that's happening around the highlights. Without that there, that was a very harsh edge that was happening around those curtains and whatnot. You put the fog in there and you get this really nice early morning, dreamy kind of feel. And if you use it really subtly, it sort of ups that production value. It feels a little bit more pro, feels less empty, even though it's an empty room. Here's another one that we shot real quick. Put a tough grade on it to try to bring things out. And this will be this room in different phases of fog. There's a lot of fog in the room right now. You can see from those blinds, we're getting the shafts of light happening. Josh, as always, looking as excited as ever.
So pissed off.
And this will be just a little bit of fog, zero fog. Nothing changed between those shots except the fog living in the room or not. And you can even see it's changing the color of the background because light's able to carry on that. So we're getting more of a blue look from the daylight actually carrying through the fog. That's a lot of fog happening there. So that's an extreme look, kind of goes in and out. This is a nighttime version of that. I have an LED behind that dresser right there, which you can't really see until the fog kicks in. And then it's this huge beam of light happening behind him, which is really intense, which you can then just kick down that intensity just a little bit to have kind of just that nice blue glow happening in there. That's not super distracting, but it is adding a lot to the scene. Rain. Rain is always tough to shoot in, obviously. Talking about fake rain, not real rain, clearly. But the best way to shoot rain is to backlight it. If you front light rain, it's really difficult to pick up. There's a lot of things that people do with like their rain machines where they'll actually funnel through something like milk into the water, so it'll show up a lot more. So you got that thicker, whiteness to it. But this is just my backyard with a hose, looking a little crazy, I'm sure, and just backlighting the rain with one light, and then that's showing up pretty nice. But in a second, especially look over by the grill. We're going to shift over to front light, and you can't see it at all. You can only really see it in those trees, and that's because we're front lighting that rain, and it's just not getting picked up by the camera. Just move the light to behind the rain, and it changes everything.